So today we've got all of the Globetrotters. Now, I'm not necessarily a big fan of the promo. I think it's a nice promo. The card design, something different, fair enough. Just extra players in. And to be honest, I am more of a fan of splitting up a 2-week promo because they just couldn't keep the attention. To be honest, this game hasn't really at all, but we've still got new players. And I think the main thing for me is when you look at the cards, it seems like it's getting so much more that it's just 5 players, 4 players, and that's it. If you need coins in FC25, lootbar.gg has you covered. They are the cheapest trading platform on the game, 8 to 10% cheaper than any others, 8% off if you use the code JT11 at the end at checkout, plus you get 5% extra on coins. With the fastest delivery system going, used by many FC25 creators such as Zorky, Manny Plus, and even Pro owners. So if you need any coins, head over to lootbar.gg, make sure JT11's in the promo code, and hopefully you enjoy. We see a CR7, a Dembele, a Salah, maybe even a bit of Sammy Kerr potentially. And then the rest, like Kante's a nice one. I don't know if I'd class him as the absolute top, but he's there or thereabouts. I'd be happy to get him. And then you go to the bench, you've got a couple of the lower ones that with an Evo could be really good. Joelinton, he most definitely, if he doesn't get another card, this could be a great basis to start an Evo after. So we're talking a couple of months down the line, you manage to get him, he's 87 rated, you could Evo him to an 89, a 90. It's a better starting point than some of the Evos we have seen from the start of the game. Lozano, going to be another great option. He's got the quick step, if we get something for the 4-star weak foot, if we get a second playstyle plus at some point, maybe even a roll plus plus. That's where these cards lie. Suarez, obviously going to be a great name. It's one of his first cards now since his inform. Massive pace upgrade, which is perfect. It's exactly what we want. I don't know whether I'd class him as the toppest of meta strikers, but he's definitely nostalgically absolutely there. I don't know if we have any generations of him. Oh, we do. We have the 96 Atletico one, FIFA 22. So it's not been that long, to be fair, since he kind of went out of it and then came back in. So straight off the bat, Ronaldo's going to be the number one in this promo, as we kind of imagine. To be honest, I don't think there's like a great deal between this one and his previous version. We look at obviously the 90. He's had a bit of an upgrade in terms of 1s and 2s everywhere, but realistically, they've added a left wing and that's about it. So 2.6 mil for a left wing, maybe even add in a different role. We've got advanced forward plus plus, which is the more favored one, which you already had anyway. So realistically, you're paying for a new card. Now, whether this is just a demand or a supply kind of for him, I can imagine that will drop down pretty quickly. I still think he's a great card. The more and more we get upgraded for him, the better he is going to be in the long run, obviously. But before we get to a team of the season, a footies, I want to see a foot birthday 5-5 Ronaldo, which they're definitely keeping in their back pocket. And I'd imagine he will most definitely get a double play style plus very quickly when that does come out. Personally, for me, it might be a bit of a bias with him. Absolutely love Dembele as a right wing. The quick step now is even better in my opinion. I love the rapid. I think it works really well. But the quick step for me is kind of the number one in this game. The left stick into, well, it's almost like the control dribble, the L1 or LB. Yeah, button, not trigger. That into then a quick step move is absolutely brilliant, especially against people that are rushing to try and get the ball off you. I think he's absolutely brilliant. And again, some people might not like him. I think he is absolutely perfect in everything. Again, nothing more of a bigger upgrade. Obviously, he had quick step on his Trailblazer, which really kind of took him to that next level for me. And again, just another one going up, in my opinion. We look, like I said, at a few of the others. Once we get past the kind of top players, you kind of then just going for players that really are just there for either your team, they're just fodder, maybe an Evo on some of them, but even then I probably wouldn't even say most of them are worth it. So it is a kind of hard promo to really get in. So looking at Salah, he's going to be the biggest talking point after his player of the month. I mean, I get it. I saw a lot of people commenting, and the one thing that I don't like is the fact the player of the month is still a 90. He's got an inform that's a 90. He had a total rush that's a 90. The player of the month has to be a 91. Make this card a 92. I don't get why we've got a 90. Informs and player of the months should always be separate. You should always be one above your team in a week. No questions. Like that is it. The fact that they've given him a 4-4 on the 91, it's fair enough. I could see that coming. They obviously knew once the Player of the Months were kind of fully kind of qualified. I don't know how long in advance they book both of these promos. Like the Player of the Month, is it in the week? Is it 2 weeks before? Or is it just kind of like as and when, like the same day you kind of know? They've got to know a little bit more just for the SBC purposes. But then obviously the 91, do they know that's coming out way in advance? Have they got a set schedule of each player, each card that's going to get one in these promos? Because obviously they know what they're doing throughout the year, clearly. Like there's definitely going to be at least a skeleton between this. Knowing that the Player of the Month was going to come out, could they have made him a 92? Could they have pushed him back? That's kind of what I'm getting to. But I think the 90 is probably better value at this point, to be honest. Pay him 3.6 mil, unless you actually pack him. The 4-4 is brilliant. Everything else is very, very similar. When you look at the 90, like you get in an extra 1 on everything, 5 on the defending no one cares about, and then you get in the 4-star weak foot, which is the big thing on this card. Other than that, it's the same card. So honestly, I would go for the 450 more so than anything. Now, when it comes to a right wing, I think he is still top meta. I don't know what it is with Salah, because I don't even think the stats are not necessarily as crazy as some people. Like, he's not got a 5-star or a 5-4 at all. He's got the finesse shot, so he's going to be more of a kind of like an inside forward, somebody who's going to attack as well, which is the meta at this point. So I can give him the tick there. But realistically, I prefer Dembele. I like going down the wing and having my 2 strikers up front. Salah is most definitely going to be more suited in a 4-3-3, having maybe a big striker or someone like Mbappe to kind of go with him to add that pace element. But it is a very interesting card to try out. Obviously, you can still play the right wing, which is going to be where I personally would play him. When we look at the likes of Odegaard, then obviously he's had a lovely upgrade to try and keep with our boy KDB, because he had a very nice upgrade. Odegaard, this is his first one, and he has gone a 90. With a 12 pace increase, which is always what we get in these cards now. They tend to always have like now a base rating of 80 plus on any sort of pace. So that's fair enough. It's got the incisive still, which is nice. He is a 5-4 because they go skills first. So a 5-4 at a minimum. That's nice. Obviously the passing's going to be brilliant. The dribbling, the close control. I think he's a wonderful player. He most definitely would suit a lot of people's teams. The through balls that I could get on him is going to be incredible. Now I have Schneider there at the moment, so it's kind of very similar in that sort of aspect. Like, he's not going to be the defensive type. He is, well, he's tall, isn't he? He's 5'10", so I mean, he's not the shortest player in the world. So he should be able to get some defensive duties on him. So I would say a very, very usable player as well. Kante would be the next one in my opinion. Again, in terms of CDM, like, he's going to be up there, but he doesn't beat out a Patrick. He doesn't beat out a Hullet, but most definitely puts his name in the hat. 530, which more than likely will come down. Obviously, he's got the 3-star skills. Not too fussed about that with Kante. His job would be get the ball back, pass it on. It's as simple as that for him. Obviously, the passing side of stuff, if you really go into it, short and long is really good. Decent amount of vision. Don't need curve. Don't need free kick accuracy. And certainly don't need crossing. So he's absolutely fine in them aspects. Good composure, great balance. Obviously, the defending ability, he's not going to be able to head that much. It's fair enough. I think that is a wonderful base card that you can get into your team. You could throw an anchor on him if you want. That would make him 85, 94, 88. Or just go out and out shadow. Making him 89 pace at this point is brilliant. We then see the likes of Sammy Kerr. She's obviously another one that I think, when it comes to it, she's a very good striker, but she does get outweighed by a lot of the players. Like, when you look at the likes of a Ronaldo, you then go through the many amounts of icons. You look at an inform or an upgraded Son, Griezmann, even Benzema and Giroud throwing in their head in the throwing their 2 pence in, really. Great cards to come up against. You're always going to pick them in general because the links are so much easier. It just naturally works that way. But she has got the finesse shot. She's got good pace and shooting. Great dribbling on her. She's a very, very usable card. Now, when it comes to it, I'd probably say if you've got the chemistry in there, maybe more of a super sub. I think that's last year's card. What was it? Was it the team of the season? I think it was the moments I had more as a off the bench sort of player, especially in eventually with the extra playstyle pluses. The rapid really came in handy. So again, we're going to go to a point where the meta completely changes when we do get the double playstyle plus during Team of the Year. It seems to be that is the way that we're going to go for it. Then we also have a new name back in here. We have Oscar. Now, we have not heard that name in a long time because obviously EA don't have the Chinese league prior. So when he kind of went, we managed to get a couple. FIFA 22, we got a team of the season. We got a flashback 86, which was never doing anything anyway. And finally, we get an 88 back, maybe making another bit of a transformation. He can go into the classic 10 if you really wanted to. I think a nice card. He's going to be nostalgic, decent cam, tiki-taka. If you can get the links in a Brazilian team, it might be a bench player. I think he's probably one of them ones that eventually you'd be looking for an Evo for him. Getting him into the top end could be a decent shout, but I don't see many people really using him, in my opinion. I think he's got something about him, but the cams are just there. I think usable would be the shout, and then maybe looking into the Evo side of stuff, because realistically at this point, most people have got their centre mids, their cams, their DMs already set, unless it's going up for a Kante, a Patrick, someone across that sort of line. Which then really leads us into not many options. Like, you've got Savinho, you've got Ligt maybe as a decent centre-back. He's coming in with the Anticipate, which is nice, but again, there's not really a point in changing your centre-backs now. If you've got a good Saliba, a Gabriel, a Virgil, a Militao, a Rejo, you don't really need to change them at this point. Which I think is fair enough. Like, obviously, most centre-backs, if you've managed to pack a Maldini, a Rio, a Blanc, you're going to be using them until you get a double play style, a bigger card. There's not really a need to, even though I think he's a solid centre-back. He's got to be very, very usable as a centre-back, but there's just no need for him at this point. The teams are very much set in their ways at this point. You've obviously got a lot of people with at least a semi-good foundation for a team, and it's going to take another meta change to really do anything. Savinho finally got his first card. He was obviously an 82 common. He's now jumped up to 143. Got himself the Rapid Plus, which is always nice. Obviously shifted over to the right wing as well. He was on the left. And he has got the 4-4. Did have a 2-star weak foot, so a nice upgrade nonetheless. Some decent pace. Shooting could do definitely with some work. He's going to be more of the kind of Dembele assisting down the wing. And then agility balance looking good. Moderate composure on him. I think he's a solid card. I'd go more usable than anything. I think we have got a lot of solid right wingers now that, I mean, he could be very usable, but I'd still say that even then I'd drop Adama down, and I feel like we're looking at the same sort of card. He's obviously got himself some very good dribbling, great pace on him, and then shooting's just where he lacks, and I think that's kind of where Adama is. Suarez, obviously going to be a big talking point. You can now make the Neymar, Suarez, Messi link and actually be semi-decent in the game, to be honest. You got your Total Rush Neymar, your Ultimate Succession Messi, and now your Globetrotters Suarez, who does look a good card. Now, obviously, people are going to be blindsided from the fact that it is Suarez. He's not had a card like this since like the 89 we got them, but the 96, like we said, massive upgrade for him, and hopefully we do see him in the MLS team of the season, getting up to them 95, 96, and failing that, we will get evolutions to put him there anyway. Now, he does obviously have the power shot, very good playstyle plus if you can utilise it well. He's had a lovely pace upgrade from obviously the base and even from the inform, a 16 upgrade from that into the 86 is brilliant. Great shooting, dribbling wise, incredible composure. That is the big thing with this card, is his composure is fantastic. So if you could get this card, and then if we don't get another upgrade for quite some time, the Evos will roll in. A little bit more on the pace, a little bit more on the agility balance. You could turn him into such a good striker. Great head and accuracy, great aggression, good strength. He is a fantastic card. First and foremost, you're probably going for the Hunter to max out the pace, which I think is good, but I think getting a bit more on that agility balance could be a great move as well, just to get that there, but you're going to take out the controlled lengthy. So it depends on where people are going to go. I can imagine Engine would be the first one, just because the 86.93 is a much better deal, but the Hunter is most definitely there if you wanted him. So for me, I think he's under the top meta, but he's definitely a very, very usable card. Throwing into a bit of Douglas Luiz, we're kind of getting now towards cards that really, let's be real, no one cares about, unfortunately, unless they've got an evolution coming, or they're in your team. If you're a PSV fan, a Newcastle, Brighton, then fair enough, they're going to be fantastic to get them upgrades. Putting them into an Evo is going to be brilliant. So Douglas Luiz is probably one of the last ones, with Joelinton, Brahim, maybe even a bit of Carrasco, but then again, really are you using him at this point? We've got Vinny in the left wing already, plus then his gold card. Son can go there, an upgraded Rashford. Yamal can, I think, flex between them both. There's so many top names that people are always going to choose over them. Douglas Luiz with a centre mid, 184, looking pretty well rounded, to be honest. Obviously, you're going to be going more anchor, I would say, for him. 88, 86, 89. It's a pretty good centre mid. Pinged pass, I mean, I can get used to it. I like all of the passing ones at the moment. Incisive's got to be one of my favourites with the long ball plus. Tiki-taka and ping pass kind of on that level. It works, but I would prefer the others. But I do think he's definitely a usable card nonetheless. The main kind of thing is the 3-star skills. Just to add a bit of fluidity on the ball is going to be the best thing for him, in my opinion anyway. Joelinton, who's going to be another Brazilian centre mid, has always been a nice card. I did enjoy the Bruno Gomes kind of links that you could get with the evolutions, but naturally, he's going to need the Evo at some point. He's got a good base stats now. Pace at 80 plus, good. Great dribbling. Defending's good. Physicality is impeccable. Great composure on him. Got a decent amount of passing in the right areas. He's going to be fantastic in the future if you can Evo him as well. So for right now, I think you could definitely get away with a pairing of them two. A Douglas Luiz and Joelinton pairing. It'd be a solid 2 centre mids. May not be the greatest creators of the ball, but definitely could get the show going. We also have another Real Madrid star in here. We have Brahim. 88 rated. Has had it in form before, which is nice. First touch. I mean, it's a nice chem. I think he's most definitely a usable one. And they've kind of tried to really kind of ramp up the agility balance. Like the dribbling on him is actually really, really good. Passing's there. Obviously great pace. Even shooting in the right areas like volleys and penalties, I'm not too fussed about. The first touch could have been better. That's kind of the real issue with him. He's obviously a 5-star, 4-star, which is always nice to have. So again, another card that you could use pretty well. Maybe with a second play style plus, it could be that slightly bit better. So I would go for him in a pretty usable. He's kind of above Oscar in my opinion in here. Which then leads us to quite a few of the kind of lower ones. Obviously, we've got Estupinan, who's incredible left back. Like, he really normally has a pretty good upgrade for him. Obviously, being left back, he's got the whipped pass. He is going to have the attacking wing back plus, which is always nice. 4-star on the skills, 3-star on the weak foot. I can kind of get behind it. The left backs already got a great position with Teo, with Mendy, Alfonso's Evos, plus Trackstar, then Roberto Carlos, Ashley Cole upgrade. You've got to find a reason to change this card. So for right now, I'd probably say usable, but eventually we'll go more in towards the Evo sort of stage. Which then I think, other than Carrasco, maybe even a bit of Podolski with that lovely bit of power shot, you're not really looking at anybody in particular here. So Carrasco coming in on the left, obviously got the technical plus. It's not my favourite. 4-star, 4-star, good pace, good dribbling, good shooting. He's got himself the inside forward plus on the left wing only. I mean, again, he's pretty solid. The problem you'll have is Neymar is going to be the kind of counterpart to this. You've now got Ronaldo who can play left wing as well. If we're looking specific left wing, we've got Ronaldo, Neymar, Mane eventually will get an upgrade naturally. Carrasco, I'd put him in usable. I wouldn't go much more. I think you could definitely get whatever you want out of him, but I don't think he would be my first choice to go to a left wing. Podolski would be probably about the same. I can imagine stats-wise. We're looking decent, 15k. He will be needed an evolution at some point. Like the power shot can only go so far. He will always have good shooting. Dribbling-wise, great composure. Decent amount of passing. Literally could be the cam of anything. And then obviously pace could do with an upgrade. So you could flex the use, but I would say he will need an evolution as soon as possible. Lozano's going to be the exact same. And then you've kind of got players that really... Do you really want? Well, we'll look at them kind of in one. We have got Tagliafico, who came out prior to this promo, because naturally came out during the World Cup Argentina SBC, or objective, the tour objective player, then standard. I don't think there's really anything crazy in there. He, for me, would have to be an Evo. I would say miss, but I think the Anticipate's a nice one to have. I would say the Evo could potentially save him in that role for maybe an Argentinian left back, a Ligue 1 left back, more so than your main team. Which then leads us to the rest of the players. Kind of just players that really are just there. Let's be real. Like, we've got the goalkeeper, 12k, Roma. He's not going to go in, really. I'm not a big fan of Farfro anyway. If he had kind of rush out, I could be swayed, but that's not really going to happen. We have Lowe as a centre-back, no playstyle plus. I think that shouldn't be a thing now. We're getting so close to the team of the year. We need to be having playstyle plus on everybody. If we're going to go to the double, as soon as we get the double, if you could even use this card slightly, he's going to be completely behind double the curve now, even with the roll plus plus. We then have, who on earth is that? Barkos. Kind of, the side profile reminds me of Higuain a little bit. I did take a second look. Very standard, more than likely could go into the Lib and Sud to make that a little bit cheaper to do if you've got him. Then we've obviously got the 4-star, 5-star, centre mid or striker. That's a different one there, to be honest. You could go for the striker, to be fair. The defending side of stuff is absolutely broken. The technical, I just would miss, to be honest. We have then Cameron, 90 pace, 87, 88, 4-4 with a rapid. Again, not a terrible striker. What we got? League F. What roles we got? Target forward plus plus. Decent composure. Could be a possible usable. I'd even then, I probably won't have to 5-5. I'd probably go a miss. Unfortunately, the bog standard cards just don't get in at this point. We've got so many top end players, like even Santa Cruz. I really want to know, how old is he? Because is that the actual 43? That probably is the actual Santa Cruz, isn't it? Was it Man City that he played for? I can't remember, but I know the name of him, and it was a long time ago. I remember his name. We do then have probably the only one that could maybe make it is got to be Savic for the aerial plus, 89, 88, and 80. There's a possibility, but I mean the Turkish league. I suppose you're getting a few of the FC Pro live. You've obviously got Oshiman, you've got Amrabat, Ox, you got a bit of Saint Max and Ziyech, I suppose. A possibility, but even then, I'd probably say miss. Most of these, to be honest, unfortunately, are just, this is the low point of it, where they're just nowhere near what you need at this point. Which is the shame. I do think some of them could potentially be an Evo, but I would say, I'd possibly say Evo for her. With a double playstyle plus, add in maybe a striking playstyle plus on her. Could be a nice shout. Savic with the aerial plus, we could push up to slightly usable. I mean, I'm just making a case for everybody here. But realistically, most of these cards are not being used. It is the shame that you've got kind of, people care about these three, and then you kind of be happy to pack any of these, and then we're like, okay, I will take these over the 10, 15k discards. But let me know down below what you think. Have you packed any of the big ones? Let me know, and I'll catch you all for the next one. Peace.